Alright guys, we are on lesson 7, and lesson 7 is more about exploring the classroom and trying to find objects that weigh certain weights. If you look at your problem set, the first section right here says objects that weigh about 1 kilogram. So on the table by the second step posters, you will find a bag that is about 1 kilogram. You can remember how heavy that is. Your job is to find at least 2 objects that weigh about 1 kilogram. Unfortunately, we don't have the best scale, so the actual weight might be a little bit more complicated. But if you can get some ideas on there, that's what we're looking for. Then you're going to go around and find objects that weigh about 10 grams. There's a small bag labeled 10 grams that will be on that table as well. Finally, on that front side, you're looking for objects that weigh about 1 gram. Okay, so that's right here. Remember, that's about the weight of a paper clip, and there will be some paper clips over there as well. These, part B and C, you can definitely weigh on the scale. And I want to talk about how to read a scale. So I'm going to slide down here and show you 2 examples. So this first example are some apples that are on a scale. And when you're reading a scale, you need to look at it's like a number line sort of, but all these tick marks in the center. And you need to pay specific attention to the units. In this case, the units are grams. So whatever we're measuring is going to be measured in grams. So what they've done, because these lines are so small, is they zoomed in on this little square section and put it here so that you can read it. When you're reading it, you're looking for where that pointer is pointing, similar to what we did when we were looking at the time. This pointer is somewhere in between 140 and 150 grams. So if you think about it, what do you think this dark line is halfway between 140 and 150? If you thought 145, you would be right. So we're looking at the tick mark that's one past 145, on its way to 150. So if you think what's one more than 145, you would say that these apples weigh 146 grams. Okay? Over here, the potato sack is another example. This time, if you look at the units of measure, we're talking about kilograms. So you need to pay specific attention to that when you're labeling your answer. Now, these scales are labeled very differently. This is marked 30, this is marked 500. That means the whole thing is 30 at one time around, or the whole thing over here is 500 grams. So here we're looking at this tick mark, and it says this is 15 kilograms. So if I go back, I can see another really dark mark here and another one here. So if I think about it, each one of these is worth 5. Or excuse me, each little tick mark is worth 1. So the big ones are worth 5. So this would be 5 kilograms. This would be 10 kilograms. This would be 15 kilograms. Okay? So now we're looking at the pointer in between the 10 and the 15. So if we hop down the number line, this would be 11. This would be 12. So we're talking about potatoes that weigh 12 kilograms. Okay? If you're not sure about how to read that scale, ask a partner in your group to help you. You can go over to the scale on the table and put a couple things on there and see if you can agree on what they weigh. Okay? So that's what you're doing for parts A, B, and C. You're finding objects that weigh either 1 kilogram for part A, 10 grams for part B, and 1 gram for part C. And then for parts B and C, you're actually going to weigh them on the scale. So you'll need to take turns. There's one, I might have a second one I'll put out there. Okay? So now if you flip to the back side, let's talk about these answers. Part E says a box of cereal weighs about 350 grams or kilograms. Think about it. 350 grams would be 350 paper clips. 350 kilograms would be about 350 bags of that rice or those beans. So if you think about it, it has to be grams because 350 kilograms would be really hard to even lift and pour into a bowl. How about a watermelon? About 3 grams or 3 kilograms? Well, I know it weighs way more than 3 paper clips, so it has to be kilograms. A postcard weighs about 6 grams or kilograms. Well, a postcard is very, very light, so we would say that's 6 grams. A cat weighs about 4 grams or kilograms. Well, 4 paper clips, which would be grams, is really light, so it has to be kilograms. A bicycle weighs about 15 what? Grams or kilograms? Well, that's heavy. It's got to be kilograms. Number 6. A lemon weighs about 58 grams or kilograms. Well, again, it's kind of like the cereal. We wouldn't be able to really lift it if it was kilograms to squeeze it out and get that good juice out of it. So it has to be 58 grams. Okay, so that's all about trying to decide which is the best unit of measure for those different items. All right, the last one says, during a class experiment, David found that his bottle of water weighed the same as a 1 kilogram weight, is what it should say. He then said, our class laptop weighs the same as 2 bottles of water. How much did the laptop weigh? Explain your reasoning. Okay, well, if a bottle of water is 1 kilogram, then 2 bottles would equal 2 kilograms, right? So that must mean the laptop weighs 2 kilograms. So I'm going to write the laptop weighs 2 kilograms because it's the same as 2 bottles of water. Okay, so if 1 bottle is 1 kilogram, 2 bottles are 2 kilograms, 3 bottles are 3 kilograms, and so on. So since the laptop weighs the same as 2 bottles of water, we could say it weighs 2 kilograms. All right? So go ahead and, if you haven't already found at least 2 objects for each section on the front side of the problem set, go do that now. If you finish that, you can work on your homework and your exit ticket. See you later.